Hello, welcome to my videos and my blog. In this time, I'm going to talk about the NFL 2023 season, the week 3, the score, the game that was played this week. Where again we had an amazing game, but also we have another bad games. Where to be honest, this game we have for minimum 3 or 4 games that were very bad played, and the 4 games were played in the prep time. So for the 4 games that were playing the prime time they were playing a very bad game. But also we have another great games, and most of the games were close, were finished with a difference between 1.2 3 points, and most of the game were finished in the last minutes or second of the game. So I'm going to give my fairness prediction, but first in this week just we have just will be were played 14 games because 4 games had a bye week where the Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Rams, the Miami Dolphins, and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm going to give my opinion about each game, a little about each game. The first one, the Panthers 13. To be honest, it was a very ugly game, a very boring game because I don't know why I watched this game. To be honest, in some part of the game, I turn off or I switch the channel because it was very bored. The Chicago Bears won this game because the Carolina Panthers were the worst team that the Chicago Bears, and in the end Chicago Bears had the game defined or dominate in the third quarter, in the end of the third quarter, and in the end the Chicago Bears defeated 16-13, won his third game of the season, and the Carolina Panthers lost his a game of the season. They just had a one win, a victory, and they're again will fight to be the number one pick in the next draft. But the problem is that if the Carolina Panthers finish in the first as the first NFL as a first overall team in the NFL, the selection is by the Chicago Bears, so they are condemned. And in the another game, and the other game, the first game in the Sunday, the Patriots in the last international game. This game was played in Frankfurt, Germany. Sorry, this was the last game in the international series this year. Remember that we have were played 5 games. The first 3 games were played in London. The first one was playing in Wembley, and the second and three were playing in Tottenham Stadium, and the next three, and then the last two, the last one and this one were playing in the Frankfurt. This was a very another ugly game where there was a lot of errors, and in the end, the Indianapolis Colts won the game because the New England Patriots were an our worse team than the Colts. The game was was very close. Where in the first half the Colts dominated the game. They were leading the game 7-3. But in the second half, the New England Patriots played better. They had more opportunity to score the goal, but when they miss the field goals, they have interception and they have bad decision. In the end, they lost that game. Matt Jones played a very bad game. Even the Patriots established a very great is running game, where in the where, where in the last drive of the last Patriots drive, Matt Jones was replaced because before the last drive of the game, Matt Jones made a mistake where he threw for an interception where the Patriots were in a red zone, and he missed. Bill Belichick was angry, and so he substituted Mac Jones from Bailey Sepp, that he made a mistake because in the last play of the game he threw an interception, and the Colts won the game 10-6. And in this moment they are a record of 500, and the New England lot is a game of the season. And in another game, in a divisional game, the the Cleveland Browns defeated 33-31 the Baltimore Ravens. This was one of the surprises of the week. Remember that this was the second game that two teams played each other. Where remember the first game was played in the week 4, where the sorry, the Baltimore Ravens didn't have any problem. Where defeated and humiliated 28-3 the Cleveland Browns in sorry, and Cleveland. This the second game was played in Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland. or yes, Baltimore, Washington, or I don't know the state where the Baltimore Ravens had they dominate the game and had the control most of the time of the game, where the Baltimore Ravens were leading by two possession enter the last quarter where the Baltimore Ravens were leading the game. Sorry, 31 17 in the when there was in the game less than 8 minutes for play, but the Cleveland Browns play a tremendous last quarter where they scored 60 points and they won the game in the last play of the game when they scored a field goal. And to be honest, this was a surprise because the Ravens had the game under control. Remember how I told you they were leading the game by two possession by 14-point difference when there was less than 8 minutes to play in the game, but they couldn't handle that lead. And this game remember me like the game that the Ravens lost against the Steelers this season, where the Ravens will have the game under control, but they couldn't close it. And in the end, the Steelers won that game, and this happened where the Cleveland Browns took advantage. They didn't give it up in the game, and they have the rewards where they won this game 31, and the Cleveland Browns won his sixth game of the season, and the Baltimore Ravens lost his third game of the season. In another game, my favorite team, my Pittsburgh Steelers defeated 23-19 the Green Bay Packers. This was a very weird game for the Steelers because it happened the opposite that it has happened in the last game, where in this game the Steelers started to play, sorry, a great football, especially in the offense. In the first quarter, in the first half, where in the first three drives of the game for the Steelers, they scored 70 points, two touchdowns, and one field goal, and that in the end was enough to win the game. The defense played a very great game, especially in the second half, where they used stopped to the Packers to score less than 20 points, 19 points, and the Pittsburgh Steelers scored 23 points, 6 points in the second half by two field goals. And in the end, the Steelers won the game 23-19 and won his sixth game of the season. Remember that I told you since the last year that I am covering the Steelers, where most probably most of the games where the Steelers defense allowed less than 20 points per game. They most of the time win that game, and that's what the Steelers did, and they won this game. The watching the Steelers play is a very it's not funny. It's so most of the time the game is boring and ugly, but in the end the Steelers do the most important to win the game, and that's important. That's the most important. By the way, if you want to know more about this game, click in the link that comes here in the score where the Pittsburgh Steelers 23, Green Bay Packers 19, and if you are in the YouTube channel, look for the game Steelers 23, Packers 19. You know again, this was a surprise for me. No, because I thought that the game was going to be closer. The San Francisco 49ers defeated 34-3 the Jacksonville Jaguars. How I told you, both games come from a bye week, and I thought that the game was going to be closer than the game was. In the end, I predicted that the San Francisco 49ers were going to win this game, but I thought that the game was going to be closer. The San Francisco 49ers dominate the game since the first half, where they were leading the game 13-3. In the second half, the San Francisco 49ers improved his game, when in both sides of the ball play a tremendous game, especially in the offense, where they didn't allow any point in the second half. And the San Francisco 49ers in the end won the game 34-3. They won the sixth game of the season, and they show again that why they are one of the favorite teams to win this year the Super Bowl, and they come to win after three consecutive losses. In another game, the Vikings defeated 27-19 the New Orleans Saints. The Minnesota Vikings played a tremendous game, where the game in the end was defined in the first half, where the Minnesota Vikings were leading the game 24-3. In the second half, the New Orleans Saints improved his game, where the Minnesota Vikings had the game under control, because in the end of the third quarter, the Minnesota Vikings were leading the game 27-3, 11, and the game was over, and the Minnesota Vikings relaxed this game, and the Minnesota won the game, and in this moment they are a record of 6-4, and the New Orleans Saints have the record of 500. In another game, another surprise for me, the Houston Texans defeated 30-27 the Cincinnati Bengals. This was a surprise for me because remember that the Cincinnati Bengals had come from 4 consecutive wins, and this was a tremendous game because, in my opinion, the Houston Texans are the surprise of the season because they are playing a tremendous football and they are playing a very great game, especially his quarterback C.J. Stroud. That he, in my opinion, he's gonna to be the offensive rookie of the year because he's playing a tremendous game. And in this moment, by surprise for everyone, especially for me, the Houston Texans are fighting to enter to the playoffs. In this moment, they are in the playoffs. The Houston Texans were leading the game in the halftime, 10-7. Later in the second half, the game was very close because each team scored 20 points each one in the second half, where the Houston Texans again have like the last game against the Buccaneers. They scored the touchdown. They scored in the last drive of the game, and the Houston Texans won in the last quarter, scoring a touchdown, and they won 30-27, and won his fifth game of the season. And with this victory, they put away the Cincinnati Bengals from the NFL spot, for the playoff spot. And the last game of the first hour, in the first first shift, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated 20-6 to Tennessee Titans. To be honest, I thought that the Tennessee Titans were going to win this game, and I thought this game will be closer than the game was. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played better than the Tennessee Titans. They didn't have any problem to win this game, and in the end they won 20-6. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won its fourth game of the season. And it looks like that the Tennessee Titans the Tennessee Titans will need to think more in the next season because it looks like that this year they are not going to qualify to the playoffs. And the game that started in the second shift, the Detroit Lions defeated 41-38 the Los Angeles Chargers. This was a very tremendous game. I think that was the best game of the week, where the Detroit Lions played a very great offense, especially the same that the Chargers and the Detroit Lions. They were early in the game. Sorry. In the halftime, 24-17, the game was very close. Where in the last quarter, the Los Angeles Rams played better, where they reduced the disadvantage. But in the end, the Detroit Lions played better. They won the game by 3 points, and the Detroit Lions won his seventh game of the season. And in this moment, they are the second best team in the NFC. And the Los Angeles Chargers are in this moment with a record below the 500. And in this moment, they are out of the playoffs to the playoffs for a playoff spot. In another game, there is another surprise for me. The Arizona Cardinals defeated 25-23 the Atlanta Falcons. Well, this is the first game that Kyler Murray, the Arizona Cardinals starting quarterback, playing the season. Remember that he was injured all the season, and he didn't play in the first 9 games of the game. He did a regular job. He didn't do a very great job, but in the end, the Arizona Cardinals won the game. The Atlanta Falcons were were winning 14-12 in the halftime, but in the second half, the Arizona Cardinals played better. Then that was enough to win the game 25-23 and won the second game of the season. The Arizona Cardinals season is over, so they won't qualify to the playoffs. So they will need to think more in the next season. And the Atlanta Falcons lose the sixth game of the season, and now they will need to win each division if they will want to enter to the playoffs, because they are the only way that they are going to qualify is winning the division. And in another game, the Dallas Cowboys again defeated and humiliated the New York Giants 49-17. Remember that both teams played in the first week of the season, where the Dallas Cowboys defeated 40-0 the Giants. This was in this game. It wasn't any difference because again the Dallas Cowboys dominated the game, where they had the game under control in the first half, where the game was defining the first half, where in the halftime the Dallas Cowboys had the game 28-0, and the game was over in that moment. In the second half, the Dallas Cowboys relaxed this game, where they allowed 70 points, but they scored another 21 points, and in the end, the Dallas Cowboys won the game 49-17 and won its sixth game of the season. And the New York Giants will need to think in the next weeks, and they need to think more in select a new quarterback. And in the last game of the second shift, the Seattle Seahawks defeated 29-26 the Washington Commanders. This was a very close game, and I thought that the Seattle Seahawks will have an easy game, but in the end, in the NFL, there is no any easy game each week. So the Seattle Seahawks battled a lot, but in the end, they could get the win, and they won the game 29-26. And with this victory, the Seattle Seahawks won his sixth game of the season, and the Washington Commanders lost his sixth game of the season. And in the Sunday Night Football, one of the worst games, the Los Angeles Raiders defeated 16-12 the New York Jets. This was a very ugly war game, like the Thursday night game between the Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers. And in the end, the Las Vegas Raiders won this game because the New York Jets are a worse team than them, especially in the offense, because the New York Jets defense is a top defense in the league, like the Las Raiders Vegas defense. But in the end, the Las Vegas Raiders offense is better than the New York's offense, and in the end that was enough for so now the Las Vegas won the game 16-12, and Las Vegas in this moment have a record of 500, and the New York Jets fell to a record below the 500. And in the Monday Night Football, in the last game of the week, yesterday, for another surprise for me and another ugly game, the Denver Broncos defeated 24-22 the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to say this, but I think that the Denver Broncos didn't win this game. The Buffalo Bills lost this game because they play a very bad game, especially in the offense, where Josh Allen made they lost the time the football 4 times. The Josh Allen threw for 2 interceptions. He made a lot of errors, and in the end, the Denver Broncos take advantage for the opportunities, for the takeaways for the giveaways that the Buffalo Bills did, and the Broncos Denver won the game 24-23. This was a very curious action in the last play of the game, where the Denver Broncos had the opportunity. They threw for a field goal. They missed the kicker missed the field goal, but the Buffalo Bills defense had 12 men, so it was a punish, and a penalty. The Denver Broncos had the second opportunity to score a field goal. The kicker in this time scored the field goal, and with this, the Denver Nuggets won. The Denver Broncos won this 4th game of the season, and the Buffalo Bills lost the 5th game of the season. So, who are the NFL standings after 10 weeks in the American Conference in the AFC? The Dolphins have a record 6-3, and it looks like that the Dolphins are creating that gap, because it looks like that this will be a two games advantage. And if the Bills want to qualify to the playoffs, they're gonna to the only way will be to enter as a wild card, but they are going to complicate this game this way. And the Jets also, they need to improve his football if they want to qualify. And the Patriots are eliminated in the AFC West. The Chiefs, it looks like that they have 3 games advantage against the Las Vegas Raiders. The Chicago Chiefs in this moment are leading the AFC, and the Raiders Chargers and Broncos will fight to enter to playoffs as a wild card. And the best division in the league, the AFC North, is the best division. All the 4 teams have a record of 500. 3 out of 4 teams are in this moment in playoffs spot. The Ravens, Steelers, Browns, and this moment the Bengals have a positive record, but they are out of the playoffs in this moment. But it's the best is the best division in this moment in the NFL. But you can see that it's very close because if the Ravens lost this in this Thursday night football against the Bengals, if the Steelers and the Browns win they will face the next week. So any team that wins this game will take the lead of the AFC North. So this will be interesting this next week. And in the last division of the American Conference, the AFC South, the Jaguars are leading this division, but the Texans are just game behind them, and the Colts will fight to win this division or enter as a wild card, and the Titans are eliminated. And in the NFC Conference, in the NFC West, the Eagles are leading this division, the NFC and the league, the Cowboys. They have two games. This is a advantage against the Eagles, so most probably they are going to enter as a wild card, and the Washington will fight to enter as a second or third wild card, and the Giants are eliminated. In the NFC West, the 49ers and the Seahawks will fight to enter to the playoffs. It looks like that the two teams will enter to the playoffs, was as a championship team and as a championship divisional team, and the other as a wild card. And the Rams and Cardinals are eliminated. In the NFC North, the Lions and the Vikings, it looks like they are going to fight to enter to. Both teams, it looks like that both teams are going to enter to the playoffs, but it looks like that the Lions are going to win this division. Let's see what the Vikings will have to say. But the Vikings, remember that they started to losing 4 games, but in this moment they have a 5 consecutive games, and the Packers and Bears are eliminated. And the NFC South, in this moment, this is a very close division because 3 teams are fighting to enter the playoffs, because the only team here in this division that win this division is going to enter to the playoffs. So the Saints, Buccaneers, and Falcons will fight to enter the playoffs, and the Panthers are eliminated. So here's my opinion about what happened in the NFL 2023 Week 10, and my opinion about the games. See you next video. Children.